What's up guys? Welcome to another video. Today we're actually going to do a quick little meeting with Brian, and if you guys don't know, I have a mentorship program where you guys can actually sign up to right now and get free consultations with me, and I also do consultations face to face with people. And Brian wants to kind of consult about his situation, his company, how he can leverage himself, and also where he can find more money to invest and how he can lower expenses. We're trying to take Brian to the next level. Super amazing guy, really killing it this year. It's such an upcoming year for him. Check this out and let me know what you guys think.
Does your life matter? Does your life matter? You ready for this? You ready to take control? Are you giving up control or are you taking control?
When we met, I was just working a lot, right? And I was working, but I wasn't thinking long term. I was just, happy that like being a videographer, I was getting new clients, right? There's
the camera and everything, that was like an achievement.
Yeah, so like, and then there's good money in it, like not per hour, but like by project, right? So the time that we spent together, I kind of like had a mindset change, right? So I started thinking about what can I do in the future. Like it sounds a little corny, but I'm destined to do more, right?
100% you are.
I don't want to be just middle class. I want to be part of that 1% without being like one of those douchebag 1% people, right? Or upper middle class or something along.
You want to achieve your goals, but you still want to be genuinely you, who you are on the inside.
Yeah, I want to surpass my parents. My mother was a dentist. Just like your parents, they're immigrants that came to this country.
100%.
I was lucky enough to have parents that were one of the few, I could say like maybe 5 or 1% of immigrants that come and actually do something in this country, right? So, but I never learned much from it.
Financial wisdom.
Yes.
Right, same.
Yeah, so I was very financially literate. I consider myself, compared to a lot of other people, I'm very financially illiterate.
I consider myself illiterate as well.
Right, so I mean, but you're a lot smarter than I am in this case. So we're not that far apart, right? I'm in my mid-20s, and I want to make sure that by my 30s, I'm set for my 50s and 60s. Like I have a plan in place, and I want to make sure that my girlfriend, the rest of my family, everybody in my small close circle is set, right? And I don't want my family or myself or my girlfriend
to struggle and worry about like the small things, like just the bills and everything else.
Yeah.
So it's funny because when we were talking, you remember how when we first started working together, I told you sometimes it's not even about who you're working with. Like my other videographer, the first one I ever started with, he was working with a lot of people that were in the entertainment world, and they had not too much financial literacy, but it was more of like buying chains and watches and this and that and depreciating assets, where it's like, it doesn't matter who, like, it's a big deal who you're working with sometimes, because sometimes their mentality can rub off on you, and it kind of like opens you up. And 100%, you automatically, like, since when we started working together, right away you started like investing, and even in your own minute way, but like, it's like, how can you take that up a notch? And also you got your parents involved, which is crazy. On top of that, because my parents are the same way, man. When I told them, I remember years ago I came to my parents and I told them I'm investing in crypto. They looked at me like a psychopath. And then I told them I'm getting into the stock market. They looked at me like a crazy person. And when I said I'm starting like social media, they're like, what the heck are you doing, man? Yeah, so it's like, it's funny. It's like, just because they don't understand it, and then after they would like, oh, okay, but by the time they're understanding it, that's like when people are late to the game. So like if you start then, it's like, but you know what? Then again, it's never too late to start investing. So it's good that I think you did a lot of sit downs and talks with them, and they're very smart people too. They grew businesses, they own real estate. They just did it more on a slow basis.
Yeah.
Same thing with my cousin Alon. Like his dad was in real estate, and his mom, they were buying like a property a year, and he took them to a place where, from a property a year of constant just doing one property a year, got them to a place where they're doing 10, 20 properties a year. So it's a whole different level.
Yeah. So I guess what I want to ask is, I'm 25. what should I be doing now before I reach my 30s so that I'm a lot better off in my 30s?
So you're doing a few things that's already amazing, which is building up your brand and your content, and you're all about content, right? So that's literally what you do. You're pushing out content, you're getting better clients. Like you just told me a story off camera about how you denied a client that was willing to pay you triple of what other clients are willing to pay you just because you didn't see the growth over there in the future. You're already doing things right. The second you can deny money because that's not the path you want to go in and you just feel like it's going to take you away from where you want to be, you're already succeeding. You already made it, right? So what I would suggest is continue building up your knowledge, hang out with the right people, right? Continue building up your brand and landing clients. Save, because obviously we discussed this plenty of times. Without savings, there's no potential for anything. And continue dabbling with investments. So if it's getting into stocks, crypto, saving up more money, starting to look into real estate, buying your first property, that is the best way. And minimize expenses, right? Less rent, less everything. Try saving as much as you can. You and your girl, if you do it together and you start investing together, you can reach different types of paths. Now, so what do you have in mind? Where are you right now?
So where I'm at right now is, well, in this past 2-3 months, I wanted to, by the end of 2021, I want to eliminate all the debt. All the debt that my girlfriend and I have. Right. We don't have too much, right? I've heard stories of people that have $100,000, $1 million in debt, right? All I had was about $4 or $5 grand in credit card,
which is still significant. I mean, like it's to each their own, right? It's whatever you have. I remember I was in a place where I had over $250,000 in debt.
Yeah.
And it was just like bills and taking care of my family in situations that I was in that just kept on increasing, and I was like choking up.
So I'm doing like the baby steps, right? So the first one is to just get rid of all the debt that you have.
100%.
Right.
Debt costs more than what income can provide a lot of times.
Yeah. So I had about $4,000 in credit card debt. I had trouble bringing it down because interest rates and also something always came up.
Correct.
Where I use my credit card.
That's life also.
Right. So I asked my friend, a good friend, I said, hey, can you give me a personal loan? I do $500 payments on my credit card. Just lend me $4 grand and I'll give you back $4,500, right? Just to avoid that interest rate. And it still incentivizes him to do it. I know I like my values. It's not something I would ever just cheat him out or I'll disappear or anything like that. So I don't have any more credit card debt.
Amazing.
The loan is almost completely paid off. I have about like $1,000 left. But now I want to know, how much do I invest out of the amount of money that I make? What goes into, like what should go where, right?
Let's get into numbers.
Short-term? Yeah, okay.
Let's get into numbers, and then we're going to make short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals.
Cool.
Open up your page. Let's start it with this. Expenses. What's your expenses?
So, I have...
You have rent.
Rent, right? So
Correct. One of the biggest expense ever.
So currently between my girlfriend and I, it's $1,700, but we split it so it's $850 each.
Put the total of it.
So $1,700 then.
Correct.
Okay. Rent, phone, which is probably like $100.
Great.
Around there, right? So transportation, which could be on a monthly basis because I take the train, and I drive every now and then. So throughout a month, probably like $100.
Okay, put that down.
Okay.
Bills, utilities.
Subscription, including subscriptions.
Subscriptions, everything.
Probably like $100 as well.
Plug that in.
Right.
Food, one of the biggest expenses,
Yeah.
especially if you like to eat.
About $300 for groceries.
Per week or per month?
Per month.
Okay, you're doing an amazing job. That's actually great.
I stopped eating out a lot. We probably eat out like once a week.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And now spending money. Clothes, spending, miscellaneous, and everything else that you have.
I don't do a lot of shopping. I don't really buy too many things. I just buy like equipment or something like that. But right now, my spending is very minimal.
So let's put $200 a month.
Yeah, just in case.
Just to keep it fair. Let's add it all up. What do you have over there?
2,500 a month.
2,500.
Yeah.
Boom. Now, Next thing is now you know how much you're spending. Now the next thing is how much are you making, you and your girl, right? Because you're going to be investing together.
Yeah.
So how much do you make per month?
So, well, because I have my own company.
After expenses,
right?
Correct.
So I pay myself before taxes. I pay myself $1,000 a week, so $4,000 a month.
$4,000 a month. So you're left over with 1,500, and that's before taxes.
So yeah, before taxes, but I use Gusto. Like this is a payment thing. So I pay the company pays me as an employee.
An employee.
Right, because I don't want to make that mistake. I mean, you can tell me otherwise, but I don't want to make that mistake where I bust my ass through the company, I don't pay myself, and then later on, if I want to get a mortgage or something, I can't get approved because I don't make anything.
So what I would always suggest is this. You can work in many different ways. You can have a company, and the company you can leave a good amount of money in there, and you can also pay yourself out. And obviously you're going to pay taxes on what you're paying yourself. It's double tax, but it actually increases your chances of getting a mortgage because you have personal income and you also have a company income. It's amazing. The question is, do you need to pay yourself $4,000 a month, or is that all the money your company is making, or is that just a portion of the money that your company is making?
It's just a portion. So what I generate as like with retainers from my clients, minimum because of those retainers, I make about $7K.
$7K. Okay, right. Awesome. So you're paying yourself $4K. How much of that goes to taxes? 35%.
About 33. So the number that I actually get, I pay myself $1,000, but after taxes are taken out, I get $799, which is
$799 times 4. You're making around $31.95 minus $2,500. You're left over with $696 to invest or to do something with or to save per month, typically. Now,
okay.
Yeah, continue.
No. I was just, the math is right.
Okay. Plus you have the company, your company is continuing to have money, and if you're investing into your company, it's from the company's money that the company is making.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what's your goal? Your goal is to invest, I would say.
My goal right now is by the time I reach 30, I want to have some sort of rental property.
So there's two ways of doing this. I can give you two different methods. Keep making money with your company. Keep saving inside your company. Save every dollar you make and just grow the savings naturally.
Okay.
Second method, which is a little bit of what I do. Whatever the money the company is making, save it. Any dollar that you're making on top of that you're paying yourself out of, invest it. So your company is growing and the cash is growing inside your company, but whatever you're paying yourself out, you're starting to invest. So if you have $700 a month, what I would do is every month I would put that into, I would let the company grow the money, because obviously you're going to have a lot more money inside the company that you can always use that to buy a property. But I would take the $700 a month and I would diversify it. I would put $500 into stocks, $200 into crypto.
Okay.
And this is your long-term goal. Now, you're 25 now.
Correct.
You want to buy a property by the time you're 30.
Yes.
You have a 5-year game plan to buy a property. Now, if you're putting $700 every month, and this is now, if in 2 years you're making more money, you can pay yourself a higher salary. If in 6 months you're making more money, you can pay yourself a higher salary. You can choose to invest more, right? So 700 times 12 times 5, that would be 42,000 in 5 years invested, divided by, let's say, 5, that's $8,400 a year. So you're investing $8,400 a year consistent if you're doing 700, and that comes out to $42,000 within 5 years. It's another way of saving, but also typically your investment should grow every year. 8,400 should grow times, I would say, in a good return, 6%. So every year you should make around $500, but it's also compounding interest. The more money you have in there, the more you're making. Now, I would definitely do 500 into stocks, 200 into crypto. Out of the 500 that you're doing into stocks, I would put 300 to 350 in very strong companies, right? That are constantly growing, the Apples, the Teslas, the Facebooks, the Googles. And then I would take the other 200 or 150 and put it in more strong companies that have potential to grow that you can do research about, kind of more like the tattooed chef companies that they're making money, they're a great company, they're out there and they have a lot more to grow. The Dropboxes, even in other speculations like CCIV or Matterport like GHVI, a lot of those companies, because those can grow significantly, a lot quicker than the Apples, the Facebooks, but your money's a little bit more in danger over there.
Okay. So now question.
Yes.
If I'm investing all these in stocks, right, for let's say for the next 5 years, where out of this, what money would eventually go to like real estate or something like that? Is this just investing and then I pull out and later?
Now the question is this, right? We can't. Your goal of your company is to continuously grow.
Yeah.
Now, if your company is making so much money at a certain point, within the next 5 years, you might not even need to touch this portfolio. It might be a separate savings account. Your $42,000 over 5 years might turn into $75,000, which is enough to get an FHA loan and get your first property. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, your company in 5 years from now might have $200,000 on the side just sitting from you closing all these jobs and continuing to leverage and grow. Mm-hmm. So now, you might not even need to use that. It's just another way of saving more money and diversifying your income and finances. And then you can also get into a play where you're doing also a little bit of dividend stocks, which are actually paying you just like a real estate property will pay you.
Yeah.
Just to hold it, it's paying you money.
That's what I'm doing right now. I have, I think like for now, I invest weekly into Brookfield, which is
Amazing.
REIT. How do you say it? REIT?
REIT, yeah.
REIT.
Real estate trust.
His dividend is 7.41.
AT&T, 7%.
Yeah.
Walgreens, which I think is an amazing company that's going to grow, is paying around 3.5%, 4%. Yeah, there's good.
So now, one other thing. My parents have been saving since before I was born, right? So I have a trust fund of 45 grand. And the whole point of that from my parents was so that one day I could put a down payment on a house. So now, knowing my parents don't know anything about real estate, they don't know anything about investing, they just know work hard and save. If you were given $45,000 at the age of 25, what would you do with it in 2021?
If I was given $45,000 and I had a company that's working and making money and saving, and I was also paying me out a salary and had an additional $45,000 given to me, I will look into an FHA loan. I will look to buy a property.
Where?
Cheap. Obviously outside of New York.
Mm-hmm.
Connecticut, Florida, Pennsylvania, or maybe even Long Island if the market goes down. Because the thing is, with an FHA loan, all you need is 3.5% down. And if you're showing income that you're bringing in money to the company and personal income, you're probably going to qualify. And you don't need the craziest credit score to get approved for an FHA loan. Mm-hmm. They just want to see consistent work. So I would take that money. I would try finding a $200,000 two-family. Put the money down. Get yourself a multifamily. Live in one unit instead of paying rent to someone else. Live in one unit, because you need to be a primary residence in an FHA loan, and rent the other unit to pay off your mortgage, or at least most of your mortgage. That will also decrease your expenses from $1,700 probably down to like $1,000 or $800 after you get the rental income from the top unit. On top of that, you're also building up an asset because you're paying principal and interest. And the principal is coming off the real estate property. So now if you own, let's say your mortgage payment is $2,500 a month, or whatever it is, let's say even $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, a portion of that is being paid off the house. So now you owe less for the house. Now with real estate, historically real estate always appreciates. So over time it's going to go up. So your investment is also growing, plus you're paying less rent, plus you're paying off your mortgage, so you're getting more equity beside an asset. And that would be an amazing way for you to leverage yourself and grow.
Cool.
So I would look for a property anywhere from $45,000
Yeah, if I have 45,000.
What's the price range that you can go on? If you go 300K for a 2-family home, let's say in Long Island, or let's say maybe you can find something.
Upstate?
Not even upstate, because you want to live there, because you still want to operate, right? Because you're going to want that FHA loan. With an FHA loan, you can get qualified for 3.5% down. It's different. Me, I don't qualify for an FHA loan. Because I don't qualify for an FHA loan, I have to put 20 to 40% down on properties that I want to buy. You can only put 3.5% to 5%. And now with 300,000, 3.5%, you only have to put 10,500 down on the property. So you can even increase, possibly, you can probably get approved for a 400K loan. And with a 400K loan at 3.5% down, it's $14,000 down payment, plus closing costs, let's say another $6,000. So you'll be out of pocket $20,000, and now you have a property. So let's say even if you have to renovate it a little bit for $10,000, you still have $15,000 for payments just in case. But it's not a problem because you're making money, you're getting paid a salary, your company is still growing, and you still have money in your savings on the side. And for $400,000, I think you can find a 2-family in Queens. For sure you can find a 2-family in Queens. You're living in Queens right now, right?
Yep.
So you can look in like Springfield Gardens, maybe in Jamaica, for a more distressed home around $450. Get approved by a mortgage broker. Make sure that you can qualify. What's the max you can qualify for a 2-family? A lot of people don't know this. With an FHA loan, there's requirements. And you can also get multifamilies. You don't have to live in a single family. A lot of people think it's for one home. No, you can get a multifamily complex as well. So you can get a 2-family, 3-family, up to a 4-family. And the higher you go, and depending on your location, the higher they approve you for. So, because they actually take into account in the debt to income ratio range, they take into account how much money is actually coming in from the property. What the taxes are, how much money you're making in, and how much it's going to cost you to live there. And that's how you can actually leverage your qualifications and get a bigger home. So if you can find a 2-family around 400, 450, put 10, 15K into renovation, get an FHA loan, live in one unit and have the other unit pay itself off. And for 400,000, your mortgage should be around, I would say anywhere, with taxes and utilities and everything, you should be at like $3,000, $3,200 a month. And if you can rent out a 2-bedroom over there for $2,200 a month, then guess what? Your monthly expenses are cut by $500. You're at $1,200 a month for monthly expenses.
So at that point, a mortgage would be much cheaper than actually just paying rent for an apartment.
You're also building up equity because that $450 plus the $15K you probably put into renovation, $465 plus closing costs, whatever it was. Let's say you're at $485 now. In 10 years from now, that might be worth $600,000 because the property increased over time. So A, you're living for cheaper in a nicer, bigger unit. B, you're paying less. C, you're growing equity in an asset. And D, you're on the way to financial success. And when it gets bigger, guess what? In 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's worth more. You can also refinance, take that money and buy more property. Let's say in 10 years from now, now you owe on your mortgage $300K and it's worth $600K and the bank gives you $500K, then guess what? You get a higher mortgage, but it's fine because rental income increased. You can rent out the unit you lived in just to pay it completely off. And now you have another $200K to play with. And you can get conventional loans. You can buy another 1 or even 2 properties with that.
That gives me like a big confidence boost that by 30 I could, I can actually do this because, I feel like I can vouch for a lot of people. This real estate game is just like, when you think about rentals and what am I going to do, how am I going to buy a house, you're kind of like in limbo because you don't know what
it's scary. A lot of people, 100%, man. People are scared. They don't know how to get into it. They don't understand the process. That's why a lot of people are scared to buy. Like, we even did a seminar about how to transition into sales, and people are terrified to get into sales or buy or invest. They just don't have the knowledge on how to do it. And it's like, anyone can do it, and there's tricks to the game. You just have to get the knowledge out there. Like, you want something, fucking go get it. It's like, read about it, study about it, ask people questions, invest into your knowledge, pay someone for a mentorship, read some books, right? Like, literally, when you do things like that, you can get yourself ahead. And also, sometimes people don't understand. You don't need all this money to get into real estate. You don't need all this money to get into stocks. People in their head is like, until I don't have $10,000, I shouldn't even invest in stocks because I don't want to put in a little money and make $1. It's not worth it for me. But why not? In your bank account, it's literally worth nothing. It's staying in your bank account. It's not making you money. Inflation is coming. And the more inflation is and time passes, your money is worth less. A bag, buying a carton of eggs and a gallon of milk today is much more expensive than it was 20 years ago. Inflation. You keep your money stagnant, your money is worth less. You'd rather create some type of return on it. So even by putting in $100, $50 every month and just continuously investing in smart things and doing your research, it's way better than being stagnant. And that's where the financial wisdom comes from and the literacy. It's building it up. It's just asking questions and you'll get the answers.
Awesome.
I think it's definitely achievable. I think by the time you're 30, you can even be on your second or third property.
That's what I hear. That was what I was going to ask you too.
Let's do it, bro. Leverage it. I think you can leverage it by the time you're 30. I think if you have that type of income and your company is producing that type of money and you're paying yourself that type of salary, keep it going. That way you have 2 years of proof. The second you have 2 years of proof, you can qualify for the loan. Keep building your credit. Keep lowering debt. That is the worst thing to have. Credit card debt, 26%, 29%. Average return on a REIT or real estate property is what, 7%? 6%?
Yeah.
So you're always going to battle that 29% interest over investing to make 7% return. You might as well take off all the debt and then start investing, because with debt it's hard to invest and it's hard to grow because you're working backwards. So eliminate debt, continue saving, invest, show 2 years of income on the company and on personal, and then go into get your FHA loan.
Got it. I feel like I'm on the right path. Like, you reassured me that I'm on the right path, so I'm like a lot more calm. I'm not freaking the fuck out. I'm like chill about it, and I'm happy that I'm going the right way, so I thank you so much.
I love it, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, no problem. If you're not, like and subscribe, leave comments. If you're not watching his videos, what the fuck are you doing, man?
You heard it here, man. What are you guys doing?
Nice.
Love you guys. See you on the next one.
Been a little too nice for y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hate. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it.